We'll see the basic programs in Java in this topic. So let us start. What is a class, first of all? A class, the topic name is class and objects. So a class is a user-defined data type, Gopinath. It is defined using the class keyword. Okay, it represents any entity. For example, if I want to store details of an employee, I can define my own class called employee, and the attributes for every employee, like employee name, employee ID, employee salary, will be the variables declared in the class definition, Gopinath.
Okay.
Which are the data members of the class, and the functionalities of every employee, that is accepting the details of the employee, displaying the details, calculating the employee payroll, and so on. These will be the functions defined inside the class definition.
Okay.
They are the member methods of the class employee. You copy now? So in Java, remember, we don't use the word member functions. We use the word member methods. Okay, Gopinath?
Okay.
So I'll just write here. Class is a user-defined data type in Java. It is defined using the class keyword in Java. So a class can be called as a collection of variables and functions, where the variables declared in the class definition are the data members of the class, Gopinath, and the functions defined in the class definition are the member methods of the class, Gopinath. So example, if we want to store details of an employee or of multiple employees, Gopinath, we can define our own class called as employee using the class keyword. The attributes for every employee जो है ना, like the employee name, employee ID, employee salary, qualification, etc., can be declared as variables in the class employee definition. They are the member methods of class employee, Gopinath. Sorry, they are the data members of class employee, and functionalities which are common to every employee, functionalities which are required by every employee, like accepting employee details, displaying the employee details, calculating the employee payroll, Gopinath, are the or can be defined using functions in the class employee definition as member methods of class employee. This is my class employee. Here I will declare some data members, string ename. What is string? I will tell you further. As of now, just remember, Gopinath, string जो है ना, ये जो string है ना, this is a predefined class in Java. Okay, this. So I'll be covering a separate topic on the string. Now this EID is there, na? Gopinath, I will declare it using the word ha. Just 1 minute, Gopinath. My mother is calling. 1 minute. Hakal. Hakal ha. Gopinath, just 1 minute.
Yeah, sure.
Hello, Gopinath.
Yeah, hi.
Hello.
Yeah, hi.
I'm really sorry for the disturbance.
Yeah, no problem. No.
Actually, my mother had just called me for some work. Okay. So as I told you, this ये जो class, I hope when I was not there, you stopped the recording, na Gopinath, for some time.
I didn't stop it.
Because then that this should not be done, because then when you're reading the or when you're going through the lecture further, then maybe after some days you may forget why there's a gap there. Right.
Okay.
That's why I asked. Yeah. Okay. So as I told you, ये जो class employee है ना गोपीनाथ, here I have declared a private data a data member first of all called ename.
Okay.
Ename is of string type. As I told you that what is a string in Java, I will tell you in the further lectures. Don't worry.
Okay.
So string ename, int eid, dot eSalary, Gopinath.
Okay.
How? Here I will write void accept data or void accept details. Now what is this again? Void I will tell you further. Don't worry. And void display details. Okay, Gopinath.
Okay.
So here, as I told you, that this is, and you can define one more member method called calculate employee payroll. Okay. Now, so I will just write here. Here, ename, eid, and eSalary, the variables declared in the class employee definition. So they are the data members of class employee, Gopinath. Gopinath?
Yeah.
And similarly, this accept details, display details,
Yeah.
and calculate employee payroll. So I'll just put dot here. Are the member methods of class employee. Now I will show you how to create an object of class employee. So अगर मुझे object create करना है employee class का, if I want to create an object, what will I write? Employee E1 suppose is equal to new employee.
Yeah.
Now it is not compulsory that just because the last name is employee, every variable which is declared using class employee must be beginning with the alphabet E. No, that's just a variable name.
Okay.
So basically, I'll tell you what I have done here. Remember, first of all, what is meant by object of the class? An object is a physical instance of the class. Okay, Gopinath?
Okay.
It is the physical form which the class takes at a particular instance of time.
Okay.
So, for example, if I have defined the class employee, the objects of the class employee, if I'm talking regarding the employees working in a particular company, will be the actual employees of that company, Gopinath.
Yeah.
So all the objects will share the same or will have the same attributes, which are the data members,
Yes.
and they will also have the same functionalities
Yeah.
which we have defined as the member methods of class employee.
Yes. Yes.
So also one more thing regarding object is for every new object which is created, Gopinath, of a class type, there will be a separate copy created of the data members of the class for that object.
Okay.
So, for example, if I create 10 objects of the class employee, there will be 10 copies created for e-name, e-ID, and e-salary, Gopinath,
Yes.
where each copy of each of the 10 data members will belong to any one, exactly one of the 10 objects.
Yes.
Clear, Gopinath?
Yes. Yes, sir.
So, I will just write here that object is the physical instance of the class. It is the physical form which a class takes at a particular instance of time, and as I told you that every object which is created using the class type will have its own unique copy for the data members of the class, Gopinath.
Yes.
Here.
Yeah.
And so if we create, for example, n number of objects of the class, there will be n number of copies created for each data member of the class,
Yes.
where each of the n copies will belong to exactly one out of the n objects of the class.
Yeah.
Clear, Gopinath?
Yeah. Clear.
So I will tell you, this is the syntax which I use for creating the object of the class, Gopinath. Okay. So when I write new, whenever I want to create a new object of the class, I must use the new keyword on the class name.
Okay.
And create a new object of the class. Clear, Gopinath?
Clear. Clear, sir.
So the thing is that whenever you use the new keyword on the class name, the JVM always will automatically call a special member method of the class, Gopinath. That special member method of the class is called as constructor. You may have studied a bit about constructors in C++.
Yes.
Constructor is a special member method of the class, now, Gopinath,
Yeah.
which has the same name as the class name. Am I right?
Yes.
And it has got no return type. Means
Yeah.
you cannot return any output value from the body of the constructor definition,
Yes.
and the constructor may or may not have parameters. So
Yeah.
now in this class employee, as you can see,
Mhm.
I have not defined my own constructor explicitly. So जो Java compiler है ना, it
Mhm.
will automatically create a non-parameterized constructor for the class employee definition,
Okay.
which is called as the default constructor. Clear, Gopinath?
Yeah. Yes.
So this default constructor will be called now
Mhm.
whenever we create any object of the class employee above by using the new keyword on the class name. Okay, Gopinath?
Okay.
And what is the main use of a constructor actually? There are two uses. One is to allocate RAM memory for the objects of the class,
Mhm.
and other use is that it is used to initialize the values of the data members for that object.
Okay.
Suppose I want to assign some values to the data members of an object.
Mhm.
When the object is getting created,
Mhm.
then I can define my own constructor in the class and assign the corresponding values. Clear, Gopinath?
Clear. Clear.
Body of that constructor. In this case, what has happened? Because your JVM has created a default constructor for the class.
Mhm.
So whenever I create a new object of the class employee, each of these three data members,
Mhm.
I use the new keyword on the class employee name.
Mhm.
So the default constructor automatically will be called for the class employee, Gopinath.
Yeah.
And this default constructor will assign some initial values to the data members of the class.
Okay.
These initial values which are assigned to the data members of the class now
Mhm.
are the default values for the data types of this. For string, the default value is null, Gopinath, null,
Okay.
because this ename is a variable of the string class type, no?
Mhm.
And for
Yes.
every class type in Java,
Mhm.
the default value is always null. Okay.
Okay.
For EID, the initial value created for every object, assigned for every object, will be 0,
Okay.
because for the int data type in Java, the default value is 0, Gopinath.
Okay.
And for eSalary, the initial value which is assigned automatically by the JVM
Mhm.
through the default constructor for every new object created will be 0.0f, Gopinath. Got it? No? Because
Got it.
0.0f is the default value for a float type. For Boolean type, the default value is false. For
Okay.
character type, it is space character. Clear? For
Clear.
long, it is 0L or 0 capital L.
Mhm.
For double, it is only 0.0.
Mhm.
And for short, it is again 0. Byte
Mhm.
also is here. So I'll just write here. And one more thing. See, now, what is this E1? So after this statement, this expression which I highlighted here,
Mhm.
that is new employee,
Mhm.
it will create a new object of the class type employee, Gopinath,
Okay.
in the RAM memory. The address of that object in the RAM memory
Mhm.
is also, which is also called as the reference to the object. Reference to the object. So the address of the object in the RAM memory
Mhm.
is assigned to the E1 variable, Gopinath, E1, where
Okay.
E1 is a variable declared using the class type employee.
Okay.
So using the dot operator on the E1 variable, we can access the members of that object of class employee.
Okay.
Reference or address has been assigned to E1. That is this object. Here, Gopinath.
Clear. Clear.
So in a way, this concept of reference variable of the class type
Mhm.
is nearly same as the concept of pointers, Gopinath.
Okay.
Okay. Clear now?
But In our earlier classes, we
Pointers is not there in Java. Obviously, pointer is not there. That's why we are not using arrow operator, na Gopinath. If you remember, in case of C++, we use arrow, na. Here we use directly dot operator. Clear, no? So it is not same as pointer. It is just called reference variable. Clear, Gopinath?
Okay.
I just said that you can maybe think of it in lines of pointer, but it is not like a pointer exactly.
Okay.
There are still differences, obviously. E1 is not a pointer variable, it's called as reference variable.
Okay.
So any variable
Mhm.
which we declare using a class type
Mhm.
is called as the reference variable of the class. So your ename is the reference variable of class employee. Gopinath. Clear?
Okay.
So
It's E1, right? Not ename. Ename is a data member, right?
no. Ename is the no. I said ename is the reference variable. Oh, sorry, of class string idea, string class type.
Okay.
Ename also, which I declared as a data member, is correct of employee. But at the same time, if you observe, is a reference variable now of the string class type. Clear, Gopinath?
Yeah, clear.
So I will. So always remember that the use of a reference variable is to access the members of that object to which it is referring to. That is whose address has been assigned to it, Gopinath. Okay.
Okay.
And unlike pointers, we will not use the arrow operator or the star operator on E1. You will use the dot operator on E1 directly.
Okay. Okay.
And one more thing in Java, the area in the RAM memory
Mhm.
where the objects of the class are created, na, that
Yeah.
area, जो है ना, it is called as heap memory, Gopinath. Heap. So in the interview, many times they ask, which is the part of the RAM memory where objects are created? That is called heap memory, Gopinath.
Okay.
So I will write that. Don't worry. So I'll just write here. The above statement, as I told you, creates a new object of the class employee in the RAM memory when we use the new keyword on the class name, then a special member method of the class called as constructor, Gopinath,
Yeah.
is called automatically by the GVM.
Yeah.
Just as one thing, 1 minute, Gopinath. Akal ko? Wait. Hi. Okay. When we use the new keyword जो है ना, on the class name, then a special member method of the class called as constructor is called automatically by the GVM.
Yeah.
And the constructor, as I told you, has the same name as the class name and no return type, and it may or may not have parameters, Gopinath.
Yes.
A constructor of a class is always called during the process of creation of any object of the class, and it allocates the RAM memory for the new object of the class in the heap memory, Gopinath, and it also is used to assign initial values to the data members of the object of the class. When that particular object of the class is getting created. In the above class employee definition, we have not defined our own constructor explicitly for the class definition, Gopinath. So when we don't define our own constructor for the class, the JVM, like a Java compiler, as I told you, it automatically creates a non-parameterized constructor at compile time for the class definition, Gopinath,
Yeah.
called as the default constructor. Clear? Clear, Gopinath?
Yeah, clear.
So, as I told you that the default constructor, rather, so for the above class employee definition, Java compiler will automatically define a default constructor for the class employee.
Yeah.
This default constructor will assign the initial values, that is a null, 0 and 0.0f and 0.0f to the data members e name,
Yes.
Vinat EID, and e salary respectively. Because we have not assigned any values explicitly to the data members of the class employee. Here they are declared in the class definition. In that case, what will happen? In that case, the JVM will automatically assign default values for the data types of the data members, Gopinath,
Yeah.
as the initial values of the data members. Clear?
Yeah.
Which are the default values for the data type? That also there. The default values for the data types in Java are, for int it is 0, short also 0, long 0 small l or 0 capital L, byte again 0, float जो है ना वो भी ना 0.0 f, double 0.0, char it is space character, and boolean it is false. Clear, Gopinath?
Yes.
Oh, one more thing. So this, what is this E1 now? So after the new employee, this expression calls the default constructor for the class employee and creates a new object of the class employee in RAM memory. Then the address of the object in the heap memory section of the RAM memory is assigned to the variable E1 declared using the class type employee. So we can say the E1 variable stores the address or the reference, Gopinath, clear?
Yeah.
To the newly created object of class employee. So E1 is called as the reference variable, clear, of class employee. Understood, Gopinath?
Yeah.
Using the dot operator on a reference variable, we can access the members of the object of the class which it refers to. One more thing, huh, that I wanted to tell you from the interview point of view is, when an object is created in heap memory, the address of the object in the heap memory is called hash code. It is called hash code.
Okay.
So at that also point I'll write the address of any object created in the heap memory section of the RAM memory is called as the hash code of the object. Clear now?
Yes.
Okay. Now, suppose I had defined like this. One more point I would like to add here. So for every new object created using the class type employee, there will be a separate copy created for the 3 data members, that is ename, eid and esalary, Gopinath, for that new object created. So for example, if I create 2 more objects, employee E2 is equal to new employee. So again, I'll have to mention empty brackets here because the default constructor is getting called here, Gopinath. E3 is equal to new employee, and suppose one more object. So employee E4 is equal to new employee. Now suppose this is my RAM memory, okay? That is the heap memory. These are the 4 objects E1, E2, E3, E4. So E1 will have its own copy for ename, EID and eSalary. Clear, Gopinath?
Yes.
Similarly, E2 will have its own copy of ename, EID and eSalary and so on. Clear, Gopinath? So I'll just write dot 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 for the remaining. Clear?
Clear.
So one more thing. See, suppose I define the class employee now, and while defining the class employee, while declaring the data members of the class employee, if I assign some initial values here, for example, ename equal to ABCDF. So remember, a string value must always be enclosed in double quotes. Clear?
Clear. Clear.
Yeah. Suppose EID 5 and eSalary 50,000. Now what will happen? Whenever I create a new object of the class employee, Gopinath, the initial values assigned by the default constructor to the data members, ename, EID and eSalary will be ABCDF 5 and 50,000 respectively. Clear?
Clear.
For every object, the initial values for ename, EID and eSalary now will not be their default values, but they will be those explicit values which we have mentioned while declaring the data members. Clear, Gopinath?
Clear. Clear.
Right? Whenever we now create any new object of the class type employee, then the initial values assigned by the JVM to the data members of the new object created will not be the default values, Gopinath, but will be the values mentioned explicitly while declaring the data members. Clear?
Clear.
That is ABCDF 5 and 50,000 respectively. Okay. Suppose I want to define my own constructor for the class. Now how will I do it? I will need to define a special member method of the class with the same name as the class name, no return type. May or may not have parameters, Gopinath. So here I will suppose want to assign. So here what I'll do, these values which are assigned explicitly while declaring the data members, I will assign these values inside the body of this non-parameterized constructor, Gopinath. So this is another way for doing it. Okay. Ename equal to ABCDF, EID is 5, whatever, and eSalary is equal to 50,000, suppose. So this constructor which I have defined for the class employee, this because I have defined it explicitly in the class employee definition, that is why it is not the default constructor, Gopinath. It is the explicitly defined constructor. It is the explicitly defined non-parameterized constructor. Yeah?
Clear.
I'll just write here the above constructor defined explicitly for the class employee definition is not the default constructor for a class employee.
Yes.
Because it has not been automatically created by the Java compiler, but it is an explicitly defined a non-parameterized constructor which has been defined explicitly by the program. Clear?
Yeah.
Now, whenever I create any object of the class employee, I will have to again not pass any input arguments here, Gopinath. Clear? Into the constructor, because again the non-parameterized constructor is getting called, but the only difference here is that it is a explicit constructor, not default constructor. So in each of the two above statements, the JVM calls the explicit non-parameterized constructor two times now, once for E1 object. Actually E1 is a reference variable, but generally to make it more easier, whenever in the further course also, whenever we want to say reference variable, we will use the word object for it, because anyway reference variable refers to an object only, Gopinath.
Yeah.
So calls the explicit constructor two times, once for E1 object and once for E2 object. So there will be two different areas in the heap memory allocated for E1 and E2 respectively, Gopinath, and the initial values for the data members of each object will be that only, A, B, C, D, X, 5 and 50,000 respectively. Gopinath?
Yeah. Okay.
Also, one more thing I would like to tell you. See, here your Java compiler now will not create its default constructor for the class, for this class employee, since we have already explicitly defined the constructor for the class. Clear, Gopinath?
Clear.
So always remember, whenever I define a constructor explicitly for the class, then the Java compiler will never create its own constructor for the class, or will never create its default constructor for the class, Gopinath.
Yes.
So that is the rule. Okay, so let's write rule here. When we define our own constructor explicitly for the class definition, then the Java compiler जो है ना, doesn't create its own default constructor for the class. So in the above class employee definition, Gopinath, the Java compiler will not automatically create the default constructor for class employee. Clear?
Yeah.
So you should know this, that we can say that every default constructor is always non-parameterized, but every non-parameterized constructor may or may not be default. Gopinath, am I right?
Yeah.
Because the above non-parameterized constructor is an explicit constructor, no? So
Yes.
it's not default constructor. Clear, no?
Yeah.
Okay. Also, if I tried to create another object of the class employee, Gopinath, by passing some argument, suppose a string argument or whichever argument, you will get an error now here. So here we get a compiler error, Gopinath, or a syntax error for the above statement, because there is no constructor defined explicitly in the class employee definition having a string parameter, Gopinath. Clear, na?
Yeah. Clear.
So if I do one thing now, that if I remove this this constructor of employee and try to define a parameterized constructor, that also I can do if you want. So if I write here string ename1, suppose the name of the first parameter, eid1 and float esalary1, Gopinath. In the body of this I will write ename equal to ename1, EID equal to EID1 and eSalary equal to eSalary1. Okay, so here we have made our code even more flexible, that is more better, because now for every new object we create, we can assign different initial values to the data members of that object. Clear, Gopi?
Yeah, clear. Here, one more, one query here.
Yes.
Can we have non-parameterized and parameterized constructor in a class?
Yes. That's what the next thing I was going to show you, that example.
Okay.
So just like you have got method overloading or function overloading in C++ and Java, similarly you can overload constructors also. Clear, Gopinath?
Yeah, clear.
So I will do one thing. Here I'll just write here, when I'm creating E1 object now is equal to new employee, and suppose I write employee name Gopinath, suppose employee ID 6 whatever, and suppose 90,000 whatever, and then similarly if I create another object now, suppose E2 now, so I write employee suppose Viraj 7 and 81,000. Okay, so here what has happened, in each of the two above statements we have called the explicitly defined parameterized constructor, Gopinath, class employee, passed the input arguments to the new statement on class employee. Clear, Gopinath? These input arguments will get passed into the corresponding parameters declared in the title of the constructor definition, Gopinath.
Yeah.
And then in the body of the constructor of the parameterized constructor जो है ना, we have assigned the values of the parameters जो है ना Gopinath, to the data members. Clear na?
Yeah.
For that newly created object. So now, but if I'm creating another object, say E3, and here when I'm creating E3 na, I mentioned empty brackets, Gopinath, you will get an error here, because now there is no non-parameterized constructor defined explicitly by the programmer in the class employee. And also the Java compiler will not create its own default constructor for the class employee, because already you have defined the constructor for class employee. So this particular statement will give us a compiler error. Clear, Gopinath?
Yeah, clear.
So I'll just write here. The above statement gives a compiler error because we have not explicitly defined a non-parameterized constructor for the class employee, and nor will the Java compiler automatically create a default non-parameterized constructor, Gopinath, for class employee, because we have already defined our own constructor, am I right, for the class employee. Clear, Gopinath?
Yeah.
Hello? Yeah, is it
Yeah,
clear now?
clear. Yeah, it's clear.
So as you ask me now, that ये जो class employee है ना, if I define another constructor now for the class employee, which is non-parameterized, that also I can do, Gopinath. So this is called constructor overloading, where you have multiple constructors in the same class definition with the same name but different parameter list.
Yes.
Suppose I write employee name as whatever, Rahul, employee ID as 7, suppose salary is 70,000, suppose, So
Mhm.
here what will happen, see, if I write employee E2 is empty brackets. So for E1 we are calling the parameterized constructor, for E2 the non-parameterized. Clear?
Yeah,
The
clear.
above statement calls the parameterized constructor for E1, and the above statement calls the non-parameterized constructor, not the default constructor, which is defined explicitly for E2.
Okay.
So here we have defined multiple constructors in the same class definition, having different parameter list as constructor overloading. Gopinath? Hello, Gopinath?
Yeah, yes, sir. I'm responding.
Yes, yes. Okay. So also I would like to tell you about one more thing here. There's something called static data member also. So
Okay.
suppose for employee, I make the company name as static now.
Mhm.
Static string CNAME. Now this in the static string CNAME, na,
Mhm.
see what is meant by static data member of the class. First of all,
Okay.
static data members of the class obviously are
Mhm.
those data members defined using the static keyword. But what does that mean? For every new object which I create of the class employee,
Mhm.
there will be a single shared copy, Gopinath, of the static data member,
Okay.
which will be shared between the different objects of the class. Okay.
Okay.
So it will never happen that every object which I create of the class employee
Mhm.
will have its own unique copy for the static data member CNAME.
Okay.
But there will be only one copy created of the data member CNAME in
Mhm.
RAM memory, which is shared between all the objects of the class, Gopinath.
Okay.
So this means that the RAM memory is allocated to the static data members of the class
Mhm.
even before any objects of the class are created. Am I right, Gopinath?
Yeah.
Okay, and the RAM memory is allocated for the static data members of the class in a separate section of RAM memory called as the class memory.
Okay.
Class memory is that memory which is called as the shared section of the class. Shared section.
Okay.
So this class memory, the variables and the variables stored here are generally the static data members of the class,
Yeah.
and they are shared between all the objects of the class.
Okay.
This class memory is created automatically by the JVM for the class
Mhm.
at runtime, even before any objects of the class are created when the class is getting loaded in RAM memory. Clear?
Yeah, clear.
So just write here. Here, the CNAME is declared as a static data member of the class. So there will be a single shared copy created in RAM memory.
Mhm.
The static data member CNAME, Gopinath. This single shared copy created for the CNAME static data member will be shared between the different objects of the class type.
Yeah.
So suppose I write employee E1 is equal to new employee, and employee E2 जो है ना is equal to new employee. So this is my RAM memory, that is a heap memory. Heap memory, there will be a separate section for E1 and E2. E1 will have its own unique copy for ename, EID, and eSalary, Gopinath.
Yeah.
And E2 will have its own unique copy for ename, EID, and eSalary. Clear? But
Yeah, clear.
because CNAME is a static data member, so suppose this is the class memory section of my RAM memory. So here there will be the CNAME static data member showed, which is shared between E1 and E2. Clear, Gopinath?
Yeah, clear.
As I told you, the RAM memory is allocated for the static data members of the class even before any of the objects of the class are created. Then the class is getting loaded in RAM memory at runtime. So the static data members of the class are stored in the class memory section, Gopinath, of the class, and so we can say the static members of the class are also called as class members because they directly belong to the class definition, and the non-static members means the non-static data members and non-static member methods of the class are called as either the instance, they are called actually instance members of the class because they directly belong to the object of the class. Clear? No? Okay, understood, Gopinath?
Yes.
Okay. Also, regarding static data members, I would like to tell you one point, that if suppose I change the value of a non-static data member for one object of the class, then the value for the same non-static data member for other objects of the class will not change. Na?
Yeah, it won't
Because
change.
every object has its own unique copy for the non-static data.
Yes.
But if I change the value of a static data member of the class for one object, then that same change will be reflected in the value of the static data member for all other objects of the class, Gopinath.
Yes.
Because the static data members are shared between all the objects of the class.
Yeah.
Clear? So I'll write, if we change the value of a non-static data member of the class,
Yeah.
or an object of the class, then that change will not be reflected in the value of the non-static data member for the other objects of the class. But if we change the value for the static data member for one object of the class, Gopinath, then that same change is reflected in the value of the static data member for other objects of the class. Clear? Understood, Gopinath?
Yes.
Okay. Also, one last point for today I would like to tell. Then tomorrow we can do a 1-2 programs on this, and then I'll teach you also how to accept input values from the user. Clear, Gopinath?
Okay.
So generally, when we define a class, we use the concept of encapsulation, which means the data members of the class should not be accessible by other objects of other class types. Means they should not be accessible outside the class definition.
Okay.
So for that, what do? We generally declare the data members of the class as private, Gopinath.
Okay.
And the member methods of the class as public. So
Okay.
private and public are access modifier keywords in Java. Clear, Gopinath? They
Yeah,
control access to the members of the class. A public member means that particular member of the class defined as public can be accessed anywhere in the program by any class defined in the program. And private members of the class can be only accessed inside the class definition, that is by the member methods of the class. Clear? I'll just write, generally, whenever we define a class, we will always declare the data members of the class as private and the member the class, Gopinath, as public. this is mainly to implement encapsulation and data hiding. So the private members of the class, as I told you, are accessible only inside the body of the member methods of the class, Gopinath, and cannot be accessed inside any other class definition. Clear? The public members of the class जो है ना Gopinath, can be accessible anywhere in the program inside any class definition of the Java program. Clear? There are two more access modifiers in Java. They are called default and protected. That I will teach you later when I teach you the concept of packages in Java. Okay.
Okay.
So I hope it's clear, Gopinath. Up till here, everything now. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So tomorrow I will first tell you how to accept input values from the user, and then we can do a few basic programs first, and then we can move on to the loops part and the if-else part. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So we can stop for today. So tomorrow we'll continue with the programs now. Okay. I'll teach you the programs on Eclipse. Okay. So have you understood everything? Whatever I taught, definitely now.
Yes. I have to go through it once again.
Yes. If you have any queries or something, you can ask me tomorrow, or else we'll continue with the programs tomorrow. Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Good.